and the friend and beloved of Muhammad Mustafa S. His own heart was full of sadness, but he tried to comfort his friend with the following words: "O Abu Dhar, you were angry with these people because they deviated from the course charted by Allah. Therefore, Allah Himself will recompense you. They are afraid of you, because they think you might deprive them of their gold and silver. But if you were also like them, they would have become your friends." 6. O Abu Dhar, you showed anger in the name of Allah, therefore have hope in Him for whom you became angry. The people were afraid of you in the matter of their pleasure of this world while you feared them for your faith. Then leave to them that for which they are afraid of you and get away from them, taking away what you fear them about. How needy are they for what you dissuade them from, and how heedless are you towards what they are denying you? You will shortly know who the gainer is tomorrow on the day of judgment and who is more enviable. Even if these skies and earth were closed to some individual and he feared Allah, then Allah would open them for him. Only rightfulness should attract you while wrongfulness should detract you. If you had accepted their worldly attractions, they would have loved you, and if you had shared in it they would have given you asylum. 7. Then Hussein, the younger grandson of Muhammad Mustafa S., turned his misty eyes toward the beloved of his grandfather, now going into exile, and said, "O my uncle, Allah will change even a time like this. Your enemies have saved their worldly interests from you, but you have saved your hereafter from them. What they have saved is utterly worthless, but what you have saved is something that will last forever." Ali and his companions walked in silence with Abu Dhar, and when time came to part, the latter said, "O people of the house of Muhammad, may Allah bless you. Whenever I see you, recollection comes to me of my friend and beloved, Muhammad, the apostle and beloved of Allah." Abu Dhar, his wife and his servant, were banished to Rabza in the desert, and sometime later, he died there. His wife and servant covered his face, turned it toward the Kaaba, and sat by the roadside not knowing what to do. Presently, they saw some riders coming from the direction of Iraq. These riders were Abdullah ibn Masud, an old friend of Muhammad S., and some other travelers. They were going to Medina. When they saw Abu Dhar's widow, they halted and asked her who she was and what she was doing in that desolate place. Abu Dhar's servant told them who they were and informed them that the body of Abu Dhar was lying unburied as the ground was rocky and they were unable to dig a grave. Abdullah ibn Masud burst into tears and lamented the death of his own friend, and the friend of the Apostle of God. Determination to criticize those who worked against the commands of Allah more than ever. Abu Dhar attacked Uthman more frequently. So, he got very angry and waited for an opportunity to exile Abu Dhar. One day he got the chance and availed himself of it. According to Ibn Wazi, the author of Tariq Yaqubi, people informed Uthman that Abu Dhar Ghifari taunted him in the masjid and had delivered a speech at the gate of the masjid thus: "O people, he who knows me, but let him who does not recognize me know that I am Abu Dhar Ghifari. My name is Jundub ibn Junad Arabazi. Allah elevated Adam, the progeny of Ibrahim and the children of Imran, out of the people of the world. The Prophet Muhammad S. is the heir to Adam's knowledge, and to all virtues which had distinguished the prophets, and Ali ibn Abi Talib is the successor of the Prophet and heir to his knowledge. O bewildered people, if after your Prophet you had preferred one whom Allah has preferred, and had put him last whom Allah has placed last, and had confined the governance and inheritance among the al-Bayt, you would have got countless blessings from above your heads and from under your feet, and no friend of Allah would have been poor and destitute, and no part of the divine obligations would have been lost, and no two persons would have disputed about the divine command simply because they would have found the information about that commandment in the divine book and the tradition of the Prophet, according to the al-Bayt of their Prophet. But since you have willfully done what you should not have done, you must suffer the punishment for your wrongdoing, and it will not be long before those who have wronged will know to whom they will return. It is also recorded in the same book of history that Uthman was also informed that he had made changes in the Sunnah tradition of the Holy Prophet S and the traditions of Abu Bakr and Umar on the foundation of which the edifice of his caliphate was raised, and that Abu Dhar placed that complaint before the public. On hearing these things, Uthman sent Abu Dhar to Muawiyah, governor of Syria. According to Tariq Abul Fida, this thing happened in 30 AH. Scholars say that as Abu Dhar continuously criticized Uthman's actions that violated the religious laws, Uthman imposed severe restrictions on him. It was his directive that nobody should talk to Abu Dhar or go near him or sit with him. Public meetings were held again and again to proclaim this order. According to the version of Allama Majlisi and Allama Subayti, Anaf ibn Qays often used to come to the masjid and sit there. One day he prayed to Allah, "O Lord, replace my unsociability with love and my loneliness with company and grant me such a worthy companion as has no peer." After finishing this prayer, he saw a man sitting and worshipping in a corner of the masjid. He rose from his seat, approached him, and sat down by his side. Then he said to him, "Who are you, gentleman, and what is your name?" He answered, "Jundub ibn Junada." On hearing this he said, "Allah is great, Allah is great." Abu Dhar said, "Why did you recite takbir?" He answered, "When I entered the masjid today, I prayed to Allah to grant me the best companion. He fulfilled my wish very soon and granted me the honor of meeting with you." Abu Dhar said, "I owe it to Allah, more than you, to glorify him because I was adjudged to be a suitable companion. Oh man, listen to me. The Holy Prophet has told me that you and I will be on a very high place and will remain there till all are free from reckoning. O servant of Allah, get away from me or you will face some trouble." He asked, "How is that, friend?" Abu Dhar replied, "Uthman ibn Affan has forbidden people to sit with me and has ordered that whosoever meets me, talks to me and sits with me, will be punished 11. In short, Uthman became disgusted with Abu Dhar's truthfulness. He carried on his work despite the restrictions and Uthman got regular information about it. At last, being tired of Abu Dhar, he decided to send him to Syria. Historians say that being tired of Abu Dhar's cry of truthfulness, Uthman subjected him to every kind of repression in Medina. It was his order that no one should talk to him, and none should sit with him. He was forced to keep his mouth shut, but his truthful cries also persisted. When he gave a speech in the masjid of the Prophet, his words reached the ears of the people. As he spoke on matters that were enjoined by Allah and his Prophet, his speech moved the hearts of the common people. People grew disgusted with the wrongdoings and anti-Islamic activities of Uthman. Therefore, he deemed it politically expedient to turn him out of the city. With this end in view, he decided to send him to Syria. Uthman perhaps thought that as Muawiyah was the governor of Syria and the most cunning man, Abu Dhar could be completely paralyzed there. Accordingly, Uthman forced Abu Dhar to leave for Syria. Abu Dhar left his hearth and home with his family and reached Syria. His arrival in Syria confirmed the prediction of the Prophet, which the latter had once made to Abu Dhar during their conversation. According to the exhortation of the Prophet, he showed patience and accepted his exile silently. 12. Abu Dhar was already tired of and disgusted with the anti-Islamic ways of Uthman, but when he reached Syria and saw the behavior of Muawiyah that was ruining Islam, he was extremely astonished, and said to himself that the entire administrative setup was out of order. He was compelled to think on account of the style of life of Muawiyah that Islam is presented by the Prophet was not only becoming weak but extinct. In view of these things, his natural emotions were excited. Sincerity and frankness impelled him to raise a cry of truth. As he was extremely brave, he never hesitated to tell the truth. So, without thinking that Muawiyah was the king of the day, he began to perform his Islamic duties, and opened his mouth to prevent Muawiyah from doing anti-religious deeds and told him clearly that his modus operandi was as anti-Islamic as that of Uthman ibn Affan. Allama Subayti writes that Uthman's exiling Abu Dhar from Medina to Syria is a positive proof of the fact that Uthman diverted the critical attitude of Abu Dhar from himself to Muawiyah. 13. The historian al-Baladuri, Allama Majlisi, Allama Subayti and Allama Amani write that when Abu Dhar reached Syria, Muawiyah was getting his palace al-Kisra constructed. Thousands of laborers were working there. One day Muawiyah was looking at it with pride. Abu Dhar saw him, went near him, and said, "O Muawiyah, if this palace is being built with the public treasury, it is a breach of trust, and if it is done with your money, it is extravagance." Hearing this, Muawiyah kept quiet, turned his face from his side and made no answer. Abu Dar went away and reached the masjid. He took his seat there. Some people complained to Abu Dar against Muawiyah, saying that they got nothing out of the gifts although a year had passed. Abu Dar inclined his head forward and then he stood up. People looked at him. He said, "By Allah, such innovations have gained currency these days as are not to be found in the Holy Quran or the Hadith. By Allah, I see that the truth is being effaced and untruth is becoming stronger. Truthful people are being falsified and the sinners are being given preference over the virtuous. O aristocrats, O Muawiyah and his governors, sympathize with the poor. Let those who amass gold and silver and do not spend in the way of Allah know that their foreheads, sides, and backs will be branded with fire. O the hoarders of wealth, don't you know that when a man dies everything separates from him? Only three things remain for him, lasting: charity, useful knowledge, and a virtuous son, who prays for him." People heard his lecture, the oppressed poor gathered round him, and the rich began to fear him. When Habib ibn Muslim Afari saw a crowd of people near Abu Dar, he said, "It is a great nuisance." He immediately went to Muawiyah and said to him, "O Muawiyah, Abu Dar will totally upset the Syrian administration. If you need Syrians, you should nip this nuisance in the bud." Muawiyah thought to himself, "Should I deal with him strictly or leniently? The fire will flare up further by strictness. Should I complain to Uthman? But what will Uthman say? He will say that I could not improve even one man out of my subjects. Hence, it is better to turn him out of Syria. It has been a common practice to suppress with an iron hand the truthful statements of the godly people, on account of their bitterness. How could the worldly people remain silent after hearing the speeches of Abu Dar, whose religious fervor had become quite natural with him, and then how could a person like Muawiyah, who considered the biggest personality lower to him in his vanity of power and cunningness, act upon the advice of Abu Dar, and how could he tolerate his bitter remarks? Abu Dar, in exhorting tone, used to recite the Quranic verse, "Give them the sad tidings of the severest punishment to those who amass gold and silver and do not give them in charity," and it was usual with him that he used to recite this verse against Muawiyah in most of the streets and on the roads of Syria. When he recited it, the poor and the needy surrounded him, and often they complained to him of the pleasure-seeking of the rich governors and of their own poverty. Muawiyah used to get the information of his preaching activities regularly. At last, he imposed severe restrictions upon him and inflicted tortures on him from all sides. When even this much did not work, he threatened Abu Dar with death. When Abu Dar heard the threat of death, he said, "The dynasty of Umayyah threatens me with poverty and death. I wish to tell them that poverty is more desirable to me than richness, and I like to be under the ground rather than to be above it. I am neither cowed down by the threatening of death, nor by death itself." Allama Majlisi writes on the authority of Sheikh Mufid what the Syrians said about the great sermons of Abu Dar. When Uthman exiled Abu Dar from Medina and sent him to Syria, he took his residence in our midst, and started a series of speeches, which stirred us quite a lot. He used to begin his speech with the praise of Allah and the Prophet, and then said, "Love for the progeny of the Prophet is obligatory on all. One who is without love for them will not even smell the fragrance of heaven." He then added, "O people, listen to me. I used to honor my covenants before acknowledging Islam, during the days of ignorance, before the revelations of the Quran and before the appointment of the Prophet. I told the truth, treated my neighbors with sympathy, considered hospitality my duty, was generous to the poor, and let them share my riches with me. When, afterwards, Allah revealed His book and appointed His Prophet, I inquired about the matters, and came to know that the same manners and customs that were ours were also contained in the exhortations of the Prophet. O people, it is most befitting for the Muslims to adopt good morals. It is true that the Muslims acted according to the precepts of Islam, but my friends, the behavior of the Muslims was good for a short time. Then it so happened that the tyrants showed such evil deeds, as we had not seen before. These people destroyed the traditions of the Prophet, introduced innovations, and contradicted the person who told the truth, joined a group of wicked people, and forsook them who were pious and worthy. O Allah, Take my soul if you have for me better things with you than those which are in this world, before I distort your faith or change the tradition of your prophet. O people, be attached to the worship of Allah and desist from sins. Then he described the merits of al-Bayt which he had heard from the Prophet and advised people to stick with the al-Bayt. The Syrians say that they listened to his speeches intently and a great crowd of people gathered round him when he delivered a sermon, till Muawiyah informed Uthman of these happenings. Consequently he called Abu Dar to Medina. As Abu Dar had greatly vexed Muawiyah through his religious lectures, he, in order to silence him, somehow, took courage to send him a bag of money because he could not think of any other means to do it. Scholars and historians say that Muawiyah, in order to silence Abu Dar, dispatched a bag of 300 gold dinars to him through his special envoy. Seeing this he said, "Tell Muawiyah that I need no money from him," and returned the bag. 14. Abu Dar had seen with his own eyes after the